Alrighty, I'm going to present some workability and disadvantage claims on my opponent's claim that a flat tax is more fair, that it won't drain the economy, and that it's not complicated. And yeah, so first of all, they say that a flat tax will improve economic growth, which is not true, because what a flat tax is, it's a cut in taxes for the rich, which my opponent kind of ignored, because he says that our economy is being drained and that we need to get higher rates, and so therefore he just kind of did a circle there, because a flat tax is a cut on taxes, not a raise on taxes. It raises taxes for the poor, not the rich, so therefore it doesn't bring in any more money at all. If anything, it's going to bring in less money. When Bush cut taxes, it amounted to large deficits in our economy. Johnston David did some research on the topic, and he said that it adds up the income for 12 years, and it turns out to be $6.6 trillion less than if we had maintained a prosperity during the year 2000 for a growing population. That's because of the tax cuts. People lost, on average, per person who paid taxes, $48,000 a year. So $48,000 per year. That's $48,000 that could go towards getting someone who can file your taxes for you. It goes towards buying a new car. I don't know, whatever you want to use $48,000 for, you can do it if we don't cut taxes. But this flat tax wants to cut taxes as well. Another example is the Reagan tax cuts. During the national debt tripled from $1 to $3 trillion during the Reagan years. The president and conservatives in Congress cried for a balanced budget amendment, but neither branch had discipline to enact a balanced budget. So Reagan tax cuts shows that tax cuts are not good for the economy. They actually raised our deficit and did not at all fix anything. So instead of saying that a progressive tax is draining on the economy, a flat tax is actually draining on the economy. So my second workability claim is that eliminating tax reductions will harm economic growth. So one of the biggest, like my opponent said, one of the biggest reductions is a mortgage reduction. And according to Catherine Vasel from Fox Business, she says, "We are in the midst of a housing recovery that is still fragile. Our research shows that even people who don't take the deduction consider it important, and consumers will use not having the deduction as a part of reason to not buy a house." So what this says is not having reductions will actually deter economic growth, because people will no longer have the incentive to use their money to buy things, which obviously helps the economy. If you buy a house, it helps the economy, it helps the housing market, and so forth. My third claim for workability, or subclaim for this part, is less government funds will not cause economic growth. So a flat tax brings in less government funds. According to John Irons from the U.S. News, he's a research and policy director at Economic Policy Institute. He says, because flat tax proposals lower rates at the top, and because the tax is at the top is where an increasing share of income is being concentrated, they also tend to bring in significantly less revenue than the current tax code, resulting in higher deficits, fewer public investments, and pressure to put programs like Social Security and Medicare out the window. So yeah, a flat tax, because it brings in less revenue, is not good for the government funds. And then a byproduct of less government funds means less jobs, actually, because the use of government funds can be like programs like NASA. So if the government doesn't have money for NASA, then NASA's gone. And so therefore, it's not good. And then, so my second claim is that a flat tax will not fix the problem with fairness. A flat tax actually shifts the tax burden to the middle class. So, I mean, I don't know how that's at all any more fair than what we already have. Even though the original proponents on whom many present-day propositions of a flat tax are based acknowledged that the lower class would take a hit. So the people who originally invented the idea of a flat tax actually themselves said, now for some bad news, it's an obvious mathematical law that lower taxes on the successful will have to be made up by higher taxes on the average people. So the middle class will get taxed at a higher rate than they already are, while the lower class is getting taxed at a lower rate than they already are. So I don't know where the fairness comes in line there. And then the flat rate would also affect the lower class to a higher degree. Gregory Gethard goes into a little bit of detail about this effect. He says that if someone making $1 million per year has to pay 18% of his income in his taxes, he is still netted $820,000 for the year, a figure which still has great purchasing power. But a person making only $50,000 per year is left with only $41,000 per year. That difference can influence final decisions like purchasing a new car versus a used car, whether to place a down payment on a house, or affording either a state school or a private college. Extremely tough for people who make closer to the national median income level. So, yeah, we're all getting taxed the same percentage, but this percentage is like much more harmful for people who don't have as much. Like, yeah, like this says right here. And then finally on the fairness claim, a flat tax favors the wealthy. Obviously the wealthy have lower taxes for a large amount. So, I mean, cutting taxes on the wealthy and then increasing taxes on the lower class, really, it just isn't fair whatsoever. So I don't really know how it's going to be fair. And then, yeah, thank you.